everything the spies said was true. They said the spies in the land devours the inhabitants. People whom we saw in it are men of great stature. And there we saw giants, and we are like grasshoppers in their sights. All the points were true. Caleb and Joseph's eyes were not Joshua's eyes. I knew my wife was going to have me. Joshua's eyes. Caleb and Joshua's eyes. I did preach a sermon one time on Joshua. The whole sermon was on Joshua, and I said Joseph the whole time. It's Joshua. Caught it in the middle this time. Caleb and Joshua's eyes were not on what was standing in the path, but it was on the promises of their future. The way you could say it is their eyes weren't on what's in front of them, but it was on what was above them. Understand me this morning. We can believe what the enemy's trying to tell us, and everything the enemy can be saying can be true, or we can believe in what God has been telling us, that my family will be saved, my marriage will be saved, my finances will be better, my marriage will be better. I'm going to hold on to the promises of God rather than to hold on to what the enemy's looking at, because the enemy's looking at my current situation, and I'm holding on to what God sees in my future. We cannot let the enemy talk us out of our future. We cannot let him talk us out of the promises God has for us. Don't be afraid of what lies ahead, because God will be there with you. Yes, maybe there will be a challenge. Maybe there will be extra prayer that needs to be prayed. Maybe there will be some more diving into God's word to hold on to what he's saying to us. But I've come to tell you, if you will trust in the promises of God, they will not fail. The other spies, they acknowledged that the land is great, but they focused more on the inhabitants of the land than the God that was going to give them the land. There are always detractors and obstacles, but God is with you. David said, "Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me." I've come to tell you there's a God. He didn't say that you wouldn't have to go through some valleys. He didn't say that you wouldn't have to face some things, but I've come to tell you that he will be with you today. He will walk with you. His rod and his staff, they will comfort you this morning. He will provide provision for you in the middle of your obstacles. The Israelites are on the brink of the land God had promised them, but they were focused on what was in front of them. And most of the time, it's good to focus on what's in front. My 16-year-old is driving now. Y'all are laughing. I need extra prayer this morning. I'm taking him tomorrow morning to have that driver's test. It's scary. And I'll tell you what else, is knowing that he will be driving by himself without me in the passenger seat is even more scary to me. As dangerous as it is for me to be in that passenger seat, the thought of him driving by himself is more dangerous, in my opinion. When driving, it's important to maintain focus on that road. That's why your rearview mirror is so small. You don't need to focus more on that rearview mirror than you do on that windshield that's in front of you. Because it's more important what's going ahead rather than what's behind. However, God's kingdom is not like our driving. God's kingdom, we shouldn't look at what we're facing and think that's bigger than our God. It would have been advantageous for the Israelites to concentrate on the events and the fulfilled promises of the past rather than what was ahead of them. Because it doesn't take effort to stand on the sideline. It doesn't take effort to be a fan in the stands. It takes effort to put your first foot forward and say, you know what? They may be bigger than me. That enemy may be tougher than me, but I'm coming with it. I'm coming at him because I've got God on my side. I've come to let the enemy know I don't know how God's going to provide, but He's provided before in my past, and He'll provide in my future. I don't know how it's going to work out, but I'm going to believe that there is a God that will comfort me, that will lead me, that will guide me, that will provide in the presence of mine enemies. God, I don't know how you're going to provide, but I remember when my back was up against the wall at the Red Sea, and I remember how you crossed us over that Red Sea and pushed back our enemies. God, I don't know how you're going to provide, but I remember when we were in a wilderness and there wasn't food or water that we could eat, and you provided some water for us. You provided manna from heaven for us. You provided in the midst of obstacles, and I'm going to be focused on that more than I am on the obstacle that's in front of me right now. Because of the report the 10 other spies brought, the children of Israel were ready to go back to Egypt and live in bondage. They were okay living in bondage rather than the promises of the land that was in front of them. I've come to let somebody know today, I don't know what you're facing. I don't know what situation you have grown accustomed to. What issue that you've said, well, it's been like this for the past 10, 15, 20 years. And you've just learned to navigate through it with whatever. I've come to remind you that there are promises of freedom on the other side. Don't grow accustomed to what you're going through, because it's not always going to be that way. You don't have to deal with that issue any longer, because there's a God and you're on the brink of a promised land. You're on the brink of some promises that God has given to you. And so I've come to tell you, keep pursuing what God has for you. Let your faith be at an all-time high. God had brought the people out of Egypt, but the people's mind had never left Egypt. When we trust in God, watch Him work on our behalf. At the burning bush, Moses was reminded of who God was. He reminded Moses, I am the God of Abraham, I am the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. In other words, you heard the story, Moses, of how I provided a ram in the thicket that spared a life. You remember Isaac because you were there. You remember that ram being provided. You remember that Joseph was there and provided to save Jacob and his family that were back there. You remember them coming to Egypt. You remember the stories that were passed down to you, Moses, of how he saved Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I'm reminding you at this burning bush, before you ever start out on this journey of what I have for you, that I am the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. God took care of those three, and He will surely take care of you, Moses. In that moment, Moses hides his face. I believe that in this moment, Moses starts having doubts and fears because of what he did the last time he left Egypt. Because that's the way the enemy works. As soon as you put one step forward in God's kingdom, the enemy comes to remind you of every past mistake you've ever made. He comes to remind you, I promise you, somebody's going to get victory today, and you're going to have an issue tomorrow morning. But when that issue arises, there's hope. You know why? Because if the enemy comes to attack you, it just means you're doing something right. because, God, I've got victory. There are things that have happened. There's things that I'm going through. But enemy, come on and attack me because I'm walking in the presence of the Holy Ghost. It lets me know that I got a victory yesterday. And so I'm going to hold on to the victory that God had for me. So enemy, go on and attack me. Go on and try to mess with my mind. Try to mess with my future because my future is not in my enemy's hands. It's in God's hands. God reminded him that I'm the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And just as I'm with them, I will be with you. Often he just wants us to be willing, but he will fight on our behalf because of their unwillingness to speak up and trust God. Caleb and Joshua were able to see God's promises come to pass, but the other 10 were not. Musicians, if you'll come to the platform. Throughout their journey to the promised land, God continually revealed his power to the Israelites. And then they stood on the brink of what God had for them. Everything they had sought after from the time they left Egypt is right here for the taking. And at the end of the day, they did not have the faith in God that was needed to take them into that blessings. Today, we don't stand at the brink of a physical promised land. But I do believe you stand at the brink of, am I going to put my faith in God or am I going to trust in my own abilities? The story of Florence Chadwick. 2 months later, after her failure, she tried again. It was the same fog that came, but this time she kept a mental image of the shore in her mind, and she ended up making it all the way. She kept focused on what she knew was promised to her, what she believed was going to happen. And today I've come to ask somebody, has the devil put so many obstacles in your way that you've been focused on those obstacles? Or can you still remember the promises of God and what he wants to do in your life? Yesterday was the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. God protected them. We have a promise for tomorrow, but we have to learn to pursue in today. We can look back at yesterday and we can look forward to what is ahead, but we have to keep pursuing to reach the promises God has for us. Are you going to push forward to receive what God has for you, or will you stand at the brink of the promise and think, no, preacher, you don't know how bad my marriage is right now. You don't know how bad the diagnosis is. You didn't see the doctor's report that I got. There's no way out. The doctor said it's not possible. And you can stand knowing God has a promise for you over here. And you can stand here on the promise and look at all the ways that it can't work out. And in all reality, it shouldn't work out. But God's kingdom overcomes our manly kingdom. God's kingdom is much greater than anything that we could ever think, ever hope for, ever go through. God has a way of working things out when it looks like it's impossible in front of us. And I've come to tell you, as you stand all across this congregation, why don't you focus on the promises God has for you and the future God has for your life, rather than the obstacles that stand in the way of every reason that miracle shouldn't be performed. If you believe that, why don't you raise your hands all across this room right now? Barbara, thank you for all those testimonies that you mentioned today. Because as we were getting ready to pray for all the needs, all we had to do was think about the testimonies of where God has brought us from. God provided a miracle for each and every one of you. Let me tell you something. I guess the reason this sermon hits home to me, I haven't told this, but this is my last year at YM, and in my mind, all the reasons of all the scenarios that could work out or could not work out, it has messed with my mind this year. But just this year, I had a financial blessing where God wrote away $50,000 in my life. I haven't ever mentioned that before, but as I was preparing for this sermon today, as he was telling those testimonies, I started just thanking God. Thank you for the miracle that you performed in my life. Thank you for where you have brought me from. So as my time ends at YM and my future is unknown as it is for next year. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what job is out there for me. I don't know where I will be, but I'm going to hold on to God, what you've done yesterday, and I know that you've got my future in your hands. I'm a living testimony of what I'm preaching today. I'm living through what I'm preaching today. But I've come to tell you, I'm not going to stop pursuing because I know what God has for me. And so what I've started doing in my prayer every morning is, God, I don't know where you have me going next, but I know you've got a place for me. I know that you've already worked it out in your plans. I know, God, that you have a future for me, and I'm going to hold on to that future. So what I've come to tell you, as you step out of the aisle into the aisle today, and you come to this altar, I want you to start thinking about your future. God, I'm going to believe in my future. I've got hope for my future. I've got hope for the plan that you have for me. I've got hope for the miracle. I don't see it. I don't know how it's going to work out, but right now I am believing in what you're about to do.
For the battle belongs to you, Lord.
Come on, these altars are open for everyone. I want you to just take a step of faith and say, God, I'm going to step out believing in your promises. God, today, I'm going to hold on to every word that's in your book. I'm going to hold on that there's salvation for my lost loved one. I'm going to hold on that there's salvation for that family and that coworker. I'm going to hold on that there's a financial blessing that I need. There's going to be a miracle that's going to happen.
I'm going to see a victory, for the battle belongs to you, Lord. I'm going to see a victory. I'm gonna see a victory, for the battle belongs to you, Lord. I'm gonna see a victory. I'm gonna see a victory.
Come on, there's faith in this house today if you'll tap into it. God's got faith for you today. You don't have to walk out of here with that same issue. You don't have to walk out of here with the same problem. There's a God that has a future for you, a promise for you of tomorrow.
But I'm not backing down from any giant. I know how this story ends. I know how this story ends. I'm gonna see a victory. I'm gonna see a victory, for the battle belongs to you, Lord. I'm gonna see a victory. I'm gonna see a victory, for the battle belongs to you, Lord. I'm gonna see a victory. I'm gonna see a victory, for the battle belongs to you, Lord. I'm gonna see a victory. I'm gonna see a victory, for the battle belongs to you, Lord. You take what the enemy meant for evil, and you turn it for good. You turn it for good. Oh, turn it for good. You turn it for good. You take what the enemy meant for evil and you turn it for good. Yes, you turn it for good. Oh, you take what the enemy meant for evil and you turn it for good. You turn it for good. I'm gonna see your victory. I'm gonna see your victory. For the battle belongs to you, Lord. I'm gonna see your victory. I'm gonna see your victory. For the battle belongs to you, Lord. I'm gonna see a victory. I'm gonna see a victory. For the battle belongs to you, Lord. I'm gonna see a victory. I'm gonna see a victory. For the battle belongs to you, Lord. You take what the enemy meant for evil and you turn it for good. You turn it for good. You take what the enemy meant for evil and you turn it for good. You turn it for good. Oh, you take what the enemy meant for evil and you turn it for good. You turn it for good. Oh, yes, you take what the enemy meant for evil and you turn it for good. You turn it for good. I'm gonna see your victory. I'm gonna see your victory. For the battle belongs to you, Lord. I'm gonna see your victory. I'm gonna see your victory. For the battle belongs to you, Lord. I'm gonna see a victory. I'm gonna see a victory. For the battle belongs to you, Lord. I'm gonna see a victory. I'm gonna see a victory. For the battle belongs to you, Lord. Oh, we're standing on your promise, Lord. You're working it out for good, Lord. Oh, thank you, Jesus. To you, Lord. You take what the enemy meant for evil and you turn it for good. You turn it for good. You take what the enemy meant for evil and you turn it for good. You turn it for good. You take what the enemy meant for evil and you turn it for good. You turn it